Hello, my name is Andrew Luke. I was the senior pastor of Westville Baptist for 12 years, starting in 1995, the year we won the first Rugby World Cup. You asked me for good memories and what I valued from that time. The most vivid memory, undoubtedly, was walking across from the old church to the new, with bagpipes playing Amazing Grace in the front and leaders of the building committee carrying the bread and the wine and the cross from the old church, which now hangs in the chapel, the three symbols of our faith. I remember looking back as I entered the new church at the river of people still streaming out of the old church. People brought friends and families, all waving their palm branches, and Mike Fulcher stopping the traffic. It's hard to describe you what a mountain it was to climb to build that new church. One time in a retreat group, I said it was really burdening me down. And a little lady called Winona, who had lost both of her children in an accident on Christmas Day, prayed for me that that burden would lift. And do you know, from that day, the burden was never the same. And I greatly valued our ministers fraternal in Westville at that time, every church involved, and we really were brothers and sisters. And that night when Peter Vernieke brought the entire contents of the building fund from Westville Christian Fellowship and gave it to our building fund, that made ripples in the town, I can tell you. But my most precious memory, I think, would be the evening services, all ages, but those so many young people, and how they would go forward to the rail to pray during worship, and others would get up and pray over them. That was very precious to me. One day I knelt at the rail before I went up to preach, and a bunch of young people came and prayed over me in a way that I've seldom been prayed over before or since. And I tell you, I felt a preach coming on. And those all-night prayer meetings that we used to hold at the end of January, and how the sun surfers would take over the small hours of the morning and pray up a storm. Wonderful memories. But all that is 28 years ago. The sun surfers, believe it or not, are now in their mid-40s. And it's a different world. We've now won 4 World Cups, and whatever New Zealand say, we are now the undisputed greatest of all time. But it's a different world, and we admire the way that you are facing the challenges in the different world and finding ways that Jesus will make you relevant in these days. And so Wendy and I wish you all of the best. We hope and pray that you would find the plans that God has for you, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope and a future.